Okay, just want to record it in case you do want to refer to this session later. You can go back and review it then. Okay, and we will also talk about the Eurail Spain Pass, what are the benefits of that, the Renfe Spain Pass, what are the benefits of that, and what is the difference in the benefits between them both. So why might somebody want to travel to Spain? Well, you can ask me. A culinary feast. Spain is noted for its amazing cuisine, of course being bordered by the ocean, lots of seafood being featured, paella probably being one of the most notable dishes there. It's just, I'm excited to go through Spain and kind of experience it, not only with my eyes, but with my taste buds as well. Beautiful landscapes. It's a very varied landscape, so you can go from mountains in the middle, or mountains and forests, and kind of more hilly areas down to the beach, and see just like a very different type of landscape all contained within one country. Of course, art and history. We all know that Gaudi is famous in Spain, as well as the mosaic tiles that you might see everywhere. So definitely a very rich and vibrant history that's something to check out. Okay, now who are Renfe? Now they operate freight and passenger trains across Spain. Their mission basically is to provide passenger and merchandise transport that focuses on safety, quality, efficiency, and innovation. So to that end, they've really developed the high-speed and regional services throughout Spain. And there is their mission. Okay, so we're going to talk first about some of the high-speed trains, the first one being the AVE. This is probably the one you'll see most. That'll be servicing the main larger cities, Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, Valladolid. And the start of the AVE service between Madrid and Sevilla opened up a new era for the railway in Spain. This milestone was a turning point in the process of change for trains, which have reemerged with a force and with a focus on innovation. The Madrid-Barcelona, Madrid-Malaga, Madrid-Valladolid, Madrid-Valencia, and those lines allowed Renfe to carry on introducing new AVE trains and expand the scope of this service, which is linked to specific quality and comfort standards. Okay, the next service is the AVE. Now this is high-speed train in Spain used by Renfe for more long-distance service, so maybe Barcelona to Granada. And then we have the medium-distance trains. And as I mentioned, if you all could make sure to keep yourselves on mute just so we can minimize the background noise, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Okay. And as I mentioned, the medium-distance trains are the Avant trains. Renfe's Avant services are media distancia. I'm sorry, I'm speaking like a true gringa there. Media distancia services are provided by high-speed trains specifically designed for short journeys. So as opposed to the trains used for the AVE service, the Avant trains speed up to 250 kilometers per hour. Now, they make it possible to take advantage of the high-speed railway to deliver mobility between nearby towns in more competitive times. So Renfe specifics. The booking horizon is 75 days, sometimes even 60 days, and oftentimes Renfe may not load their scheduled fares until 30 days out. So whenever you see a specific train or you're looking for a particular train and you don't have the ability to confirm it, it's always a good idea to check Renfe's site itself just to make sure to see if it is actually available for purchase there. So if it's not available for purchase on Renfe's site directly, we aren't going to have access to it as well. All fares are non-exchangeable, so that means that you can't exchange it for a different date or time. Sometimes the fare may allow you to refund it. So in that case, if you do need to make a change, you would have to refund that original fare and just rebook the new fare. Point-to-point tickets are booked in search by price. That gives us our direct connect to Renfe, and those are going to be printed home only tickets, so very convenient. One thing to note on those printed home tickets is the names do not display. It will just show you the seat and the coach number, and then when the conductor scans the Q code or that barcode on the ticket, it will show the customer information behind the scenes, but no names will actually be printed on the tickets. Reservations confirm when you queue it to print in Euronet. So like most things in Euronet, once you book them, you'll see that little confirm button light up and make itself available to you. Well, with Renfe, it's not confirmed until you actually queue it to print, and it's not uncommon for the prices to fluctuate a little bit, up or down. So sometimes you might hit confirm or queue it to print, and then you'll get a message saying that the fare has confirmed at a slightly higher price or a slightly lower price. Do you accept this? So that is not uncommon to see something like that happen when you're confirming, when you queue it to print. Pass holder fares, those are booked in schedule search, or our original method that we use to find schedules. Those are going to be issued as paper tickets. And you can also book some Renfe tickets, regular tickets, in schedule search the old way. The only thing is that's not going to give you the widest price range, and that's also not going to give you the option to print those at home, which is very convenient. So, but the pass holder fares for right now, those do have to be booked in schedule search only. Those reservations do confirm in the product screen as normal, so once you do get those, you'll see the little confirm button light up and you'll be able to select that. Okay. Now, as I mentioned on high-speed trains, there are 3 classes of service. Preferente, which is what will be considered first class on most trains. Also Turista Plus, which is kind of an upgraded or in-between second class. It's actually a first class seat, so that gives you this first class seating like you see here. So it's going to be first class seating, but that does not include the amenities that are normally offered in first class. So no welcome drink, no meal if that's offered at that time and day. But you do have that nice, wider, more comfortable seat. So that gives you Turista Plus here. And then we also have Turista, which is your straight up second class. That's your regular second class right here. And that would be this here. Okay, one moment while I just mute here. Okay. Now, when you do want to check on the class of service or see what's offered, do make sure to check the extranet to see which types of trains offer meals served at the seat while in Preferente. Travelers holding a promo ticket are not eligible to access the Sala Club Lounge, so that means even though you may have a Turista Plus or even a Preferente promo fare, so a discounted promo fare, that's not going to give you access to the lounge. But others can access the lounge 2 hours before the train departure. The train also offers a bar buffet car with souvenir shops and snacks and drinks. There's phone booths and a nursery area and a meeting area. Now, just to get an idea of the different types of service here, this will show you what might be the differences between those classes of service. Let me just move here. So for Preferente, you have audio channels and earphones. You get that in Turista Plus and in Turista. Videos offered in all classes of service. Puzzles for children are offered in second class. Most people with families either can't afford or don't want to be in first class because they'd be paying more. And also business travelers tend to be in first class. So first class tends to be a little bit quieter, whereas second class tends to be commuters, family, youth, a little more noisy, but a lot more fun. All classes of service offer facilities for disabled people. Only Preferente offers you catering service at the seat, access to the lounge, and then daily press and magazines, so papers and magazines. What kinds of rail passes are available in Spain? So we have two types of single country Spain rail passes. As I mentioned, we have the Eurail Spain Pass and the Renfe Spain Pass. Well, what's the difference between these two? Well, obviously, Eurail is offered by Eurail, so you're going to see that offered with a whole variety of Eurail passes that are offered. The two country passes, multiple country select passes, specific types of two country passes, or maybe like a Balkan pass or things like that. So that will be issued in our standard Eurail fashion, meaning that that's going to be a paper pass. And then Spain also offers its own pass, the Renfe Spain Pass, and that one's going to be issued a little bit differently and have different features to it. So in the same way that you can have Switzerland on a Eurail pass, or you can buy the Swiss pass that's offered specifically from the country of Switzerland, Renfe has that same offering. All right, let's talk about the Eurail Spain Pass. The Eurail Spain Pass is a flexi pass. It's valid for unlimited travel on any 3, 4, 5, and 8 days within 1 month. Travel days may be used consecutively or non-consecutively. So you can use those all in a row, or you can use them flexibly if you get a flexi pass. You don't have to use them all day, if you have a consecutive pass, you don't have to travel every day. So let's say you've got 3 days of travel, you get a 4-day, let's say you have, how can I put this? You have 6 days that you're going to be in Spain, 5 of those days you're going to be traveling. Let's say for whatever reason, maybe that 5-day pass is what you've gotten. If you don't travel on one of the days, you just forfeit that day. So it's not like you have to travel every single day or that invalidates the pass. So it does give you the flexibility to travel. Now the one thing with the Eurail Spain Pass too is this is rail day, which is considered from midnight to midnight. You take as many trains as you like, just making reservations where it's desired or required. Now for most trains in Spain, they do require a reservation. That would be an additional charge with a Eurail Spain Pass. The difference here is that even though children are free, let's see here. So as I mentioned, day of travel is a 24-hour period from midnight to midnight, so unlimited travel on any number of trains for each day of use. And then it has the different fare types. So you have an adult, youths, which are 12 to 27 years, so including up to and including age 27. There's offered an adult saver pass. That means that there's 2 to 5 people traveling together at all times. You'll get a discount on that pass. And child ages are considered from 4 to 11. Children travel free, and they must be accompanied by an adult. Now there's a maximum of 2 free children per adult. Now, even though children are free, the adult does need to go to the ticket window in Spain to get issued a free reservation before boarding the train. So they'll get a free reservation for those children, but that has to be done locally. So the adults can make the reservations in advance with us, or they can make them at the same time when they're doing the reservations for the children, but there'll be no additional charge to that. So it's really nice because the children do get the opportunity to travel for free. So that's something to keep into consideration when you're trying to determine whether a rail pass or whether a point-to-point tickets are going to be the better option. Okay, now we'll talk about the Renfe Spain Pass. So the Renfe Spain Pass is also a flexible pass, valid for any 4, 6, 8, and 10 journeys in 1 month. And we'll talk about that in just a second. Seat reservations for the Renfe Pass cannot be booked through Rail Plus or on the Rail Plus website, so they have to be done locally, but they are free of charge for adults and children, so the reservations are included in the price of the pass. Passport details are required at the time of booking. There are no youth, senior, or saver discounts. Child ages 4 to 13, so a little bit higher. The pass is issued as a printed home document only, so it's not issued as a paper document. Now, what I mentioned here that this is done as in journeys rather than rail days. So that means the Eurail Spain pass, let's say you're going from Barcelona to Madrid and then Madrid to Toledo. That would all be covered on your Eurail pass. You would just need to make reservations on those two segments, going from Barcelona to Madrid, then a change of trains from Madrid to Toledo. With the Renfe Spain pass, those would be considered two journeys. So it's not going by rail days, it's going by actual segments of train. So even though you may be going from point A to point B, if there's a change of trains, that's going to be considered two segments. So in one day I want to go from Barcelona to Toledo, that's not considered one segment if there's going to be a change of trains. So that's something to keep in mind when you're actually trying to determine how many days you're going to need on the Renfe Spain pass or how many journeys you're going to need. So you need to know exactly how many segments. So you might want to pull up the schedules to see if there's any connections that are required, and then that will determine how many journeys you need on that pass. Okay, so a few facts about the Renfe Spain pass. It's only available for citizens from outside Spain, so it's not available for anybody inside Spain. You can choose passes of up to 4, 6, or 10 journeys within 1 month. It must be validated within 6 months of issuance. So like with the Eurail passes, those just need to be validated within 11 months. This one has a shorter window that you need to validate that pass. Seat reservations are compulsory, so they are required, but they are no additional cost. And this pass is issued as a printed home ticket or printed home pass only. Now the benefits of the Eurail Spain pass. It does offer Eurail pass bonuses. You can book pass holder fares before travel, so you don't have to wait to do that locally at the station. Some people do like to have all of their reservations done in advance so that they know that they don't have to be worried about availability, and they just like to know where and when they're going. 2 children travel free per each adult. It gives you more flexibility. So let's say that you're wanting to do more journeys within a day, that gives you the option to do that. And also the option to do things at the last minute. Let's say you're in Madrid and you go from Barcelona to Madrid, and that very day you decide to do a day trip to Toledo. You can use your pass to do that. You would just need to make the reservations locally, whereas you'd have to have had that accounted for on the Renfe Spain pass in the number of segments that you have on that pass. So that might not be possible there. Unlimited number of trains on a day of the pass. And this also gives you the availability to travel on the overnight trains. Of course, making a reservation there. Now those reservations too are going to be a little bit higher because with those overnight services you are actually booking accommodations. So depending on the type and amount of privacy for that accommodation, it may come at a higher cost. So the more private, the more it's going to cost you. One thing to bear in mind though when you do take an overnight train is that you are saving on the accommodation for that night. So even though the reservations might be a little bit higher, you don't have to book a hotel for that evening, and you're accomplishing your travel at the same time and having a pretty neat experience. So one thing to bear in mind with that. Okay, and now we're going to talk about the benefits of the Renfe Spain pass. So it's printed home, so you never lose your tickets. If you do happen to lose it, just go ahead and find an internet cafe, or maybe at the hotel you're at they have a little office center. Go ahead and just reprint that pass. Complimentary seat reservations, so that no additional charges. I know a lot of times people may have issue with the fact that they've already purchased a pass. Why do I need to purchase reservations and pay for them on top of the pass? So that eliminates that confusion and concern there by having those included. Children between 4 and 13 travel at reduced fares. So with the Eurail pass, the children are traveling free. With the Renfe Spain pass, they do need to purchase a pass, but there is a reduced rate for that. You do get free commuter travel, 3 hours pre and post trip. So if you're taking any city metros to get to and from the station, that's also included. And the pass can be canceled within 24 hours of purchase with no penalty. Okay. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Now, I will go over showing you the difference between point-to-point and passes, and we'll take a look at the extranet as well, just to see if there's how to find the information there. But if anybody has any questions now, please go ahead and post them in the chat box, and then I'll do my best to answer them there, or answer them for everyone. Okay, let me go ahead and let me pull up my little handy guide here. So now I've done this in a little Excel spreadsheet. Now, you don't have to do this. You can always just write it down on a piece of paper, but just for our meeting here, I figured that this is going to be a little bit easier to kind of visualize here. Okay. No questions at all on the presentation or first class plus reservation. Let's see, first class pass reserves preferente seat or Turista plus. We're actually going to go over that. We're going to show you exactly how to make sure that you get first class rather than Turista plus. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. So I've got some prices put in here. I'm going to go ahead and delete those. I'm just going to show you this is where we were able to put the prices in. So let me get rid of those. And we'll go ahead and we'll calculate as we go along. Reservation of Renfe Spain Pass should be taken on destination only at the train station. So yes, so the reservations for the Renfe Spain Pass, those, you have to do the reservations beforehand. They have to be done locally, and there'll be no additional charge for those. Okay, and they can be done at the train station. Okay, so for instance, we're going to take a pretty simple itinerary here. It's going to be Barcelona to Madrid, Madrid to Malaga, Malaga back to Madrid. We're going to do it for 2 adults and 2 children, ages 7 and 9. So it's only 3 trips, so it doesn't seem like that much. You might just want to use point-to-point tickets. Why would we want to use a pass with all of, you know, the extra reservation costs? Well, let's actually take a look at that and see what's going to be the better option. So we've got Barcelona to Madrid. We've got the basic type of pass. So we have 3 trips. Let me go ahead and pull my Euronet over so we can take a look at this. Shrink this down a little bit more. Okay, so my Euronet's going to look a little bit different from Euronet, but the principle and the pricing should be fairly similar. So it'll show you the basic information. So I'm going to go ahead and just start a dummy booking here. Okay, so let's go ahead and, so we know we've got 1, 2, 3 trips. So we'd be looking at a Eurail Spain Pass. Now we want to do these are obviously 3 flexible days because we're traveling on the 19th, the 22nd, and the 25th. So they're not all in a row, so we need a flexible pass. All of these people are going to be traveling together at all times, so we can go ahead and look at a Saver Pass. So Saver Pass is going to be $281. I'm just going to do this as price per person. So we've got $281, and then we'll have that times 2 for 2 adults. Okay. So that's our price for the 2 adults. Remember, the children are going to be free, so no additional cost there. There's only 2 of them. They could have, in theory, another 2 children that could be traveling for free, so 4 total. So now we have to consider this pass price plus whatever reservations might be required, and then also point-to-point tickets. So we're going to look at the difference in cost between point-to-point tickets. So remember, for point-to-point tickets, we'd want to get the best prices by looking through price search. Remember to change this to Renfe so that we're accessing their direct connect. I'm going to use our little quick tabs here to put the cities in. So this is going from Barcelona Sants to Madrid Puerto de Atocha. So one thing when you're not using these quick links is to make sure that you're selecting the correct stations for Spain. Barcelona Sants is pretty much going to be the main one that you're always using. Madrid Puerto de Atocha. Now when you do put in Madrid, let's say I didn't use the quick link and I was just typing in Madrid, you'll see Atocha Cercanías comes up first. That's actually the metro system, so make sure you're not selecting that. Even though it says Atocha, that is not the correct Atocha. You want to make sure you go down to the very last one here, the Puerta de Atocha. And then we'll do this for the departure date of the 19th. My little calendar pops up on my other screen, so sorry it doesn't display that. I'll just put that in there. And we'll do this for 2 adults and 2 children. And now we looked at the pass in first class. And so we want to make sure we're comparing apples to apples, or comparing the same thing. So we want to look at first class tickets, comparing that to our first class pass, just so that we're looking at the same thing. Oh, let me do this here. Oh, okay, where'd that dialog box go? One moment here. Okay, and this showed up under my other box here. Let me move this over. So now it's asking me for the ages of the youth travelers. So we have ages 7 and 9. And we'll hit OK. Now we have to select retail, and we'll select first class just so we can get the best idea of a proper comparison. Okay, and we're just pulling up our prices here. Okay, so let's say we're going to take a look at this 9 o'clock. Actually, let's look, just to be competitive, let's take a look at this 10 o'clock fare. So the best price I have in first class is going to be Turista Plus. We've got promo fares for the adults and regular fares for the children. That's going to be $542 total. $542. So right there, we're almost at the price of just the pass in just that one trip. Now, granted, we do need to make reservations on top of this for the 2 adults. Remember, the adults can do those reservations locally for the children at no additional charge. So I'll go ahead and go back just to look at reservations for this same train. So this was at 10 o'clock. Barcelona to Madrid. Now when you're doing it through schedule search, you don't have to be concerned about the stations. It'll just look for all of them and pull up the appropriate one. Now we were looking at the 10 o'clock, like we were in the point-to-point price search. And we want to look at pass holder fares. So now we see it's going to be $36 for the 2 adults. So that equals 36 times 2. So an additional $72. So okay, at this point, it looks like point-to-point tickets are better, but we still have 2 more journeys to go. And we'll take a look at how to do the, make sure that you get first class for this. So this is Preferente or Turista Plus. Let's go ahead and add this to the summary. And I'm just going to put in a basic name here. Very uncreative. I'm going to put in John Smith. Okay, and because this is paper, we only need that one lead name. Now, before you have to go forward, you always have to click on the Preference tab, but here is where you would select AVE Club Class. Now, this may not necessarily put them in Club Class, but it will, if it's available, put them in First Class. So we'll go on to Book Now and hit Confirm. And now when we check our placement info, see that moved over here, let me drag that over. you can see the Ave Club class is confirmed. So that confirmed them in first class as opposed to the Turista Plus. Okay, so that's our first segment done. Let's take a look at our next segment. And we'll do the price search again, making sure to select Renfe, and this time we'll do Madrid, Puerto de Atocha to Malaga. And we'll do this for the 22nd of September. 2 adults, 2 children, ages 7 and 9. And making sure to select first class so that we're doing a fair comparison. Okay, and now here, we'll take a look at a very competitive fare. Now, depending on the time when they want to travel, they may not have the option. So, actually, let's take a look at something in between. So, the $440. So, $440, that's total for all 4 passengers. We've got the Preferente child fares and Preferente promo fare for the adults. Now, I know the train reservations are the same no matter which trains you're taking, so here it's going to be an additional $72. So it's going to be the same, and then the 2 children would travel free with the reservations done locally. So now we can see that's really starting to be much better looking in the point for the passes and the reservations. Let's do our final segment then. Let's do Malaga back to Madrid, and this one for the 25th. Same 2 adults, 2 children, same first class. Okay, and now here, even if we take the best fare that we can see, this may not necessarily be the time that they need to travel at, so they could be ending up paying as high as $654. But let's assume the best, and that's another $440. Oops, that's over here, $440, and then just another $72 here. So as you can see, just these 3 segments, if we're doing point-to-point tickets in first class, rather expensive at $1,422. But the pass and reservations, that gives us $778. Now, one thing to note, too, not only is it a better price, but let's say they decide to change the time that they wanted to travel from Malaga to Madrid. They really enjoyed it. They want to stay a little bit longer. But they've already made the reservations. Well, they simply just forfeit those reservations and just need to make new reservations at the station to take a later train or an earlier train, depending on their schedule. Or let's say they even miss the train, they sleep in a little bit and miss the train. They're only out that reservation. They just need to purchase new reservations with this pass. However, with this train, to get that best price, we had to do a promo fare. Now, if you click on this promo fare, you'll see here that this is non-refundable, non-exchangeable. So if they miss this train, they have just lost $440. And if they need to take that service, which they most likely do, they'll need to purchase new tickets again locally. This promo fare most likely is not going to be available, and then they may end up paying that $654. So let's say that case they miss the train. It's just another $72 cost for the reservations, but could be up to $654 if you're doing point-to-point tickets. So you can see rather quickly that pass gives you a lot of flexibility, a lot of benefits for traveling if you want to do anything last minute or add some segments on. And the point-to-point tickets, if you're maybe doing 1 or 2 segments, it could be the way to go. But if you're doing travel like this, you can see Eurail Pass is definitely going to save you quite a bit of money. So I hope this helps. Let's see, can we compare the price between the Renfe and the Eurail Spain Pass? Certainly. Let's go ahead and let me add a column in. So we'll do this for the Renfe Spain Pass. So let's take a look at that. Now this one would be not 3 rail days, but we're looking at 3 segments because it's going to be from Barcelona to Madrid, which is a single trip, Madrid to Malaga, which we saw was just a single trip, because when we're looking in point-to-point schedule search for Renfe, it doesn't allow connections. It only shows you direct service. So we know that this is 1 direct service, 2 direct service, 3 direct service. So we need 3 segments for the Renfe Spain Pass. Now for this one, the minimum is going to be for 4 journeys in 1 month, and those are flexible. Now you can see we don't have Saver Pass options. So this would be for 2 adults. So this is going to equal $432 for 1 adult plus $432 for the 2nd adult. And then now we will have to pay for children, so that's $320 plus $320 for each of the children. So now we're at $1,504. Now it's more than that Eurail Spain Pass, but keep in mind this, you don't need any extra reservations. Those are going to be included when done locally, so there's no additional cost there. So that is simply going to be $1,504. So it's a bit more, but depending on what that person needs, let's say that they are leaving tomorrow, we don't have time to get them that Eurail Spain Pass because it's a paper document. This might be the way to go. Well, this definitely is going to be the way to go because it's electronic. You can do it right there. If they're stuck and it's just 1 ticket, then you can do the point-to-point tickets here. But if they're doing an itinerary like this, the best option is going to be the Eurail Spain Pass. If that's not possible to get them that paper document for whatever reason, your next best option is going to be the Renfe Spain Pass, coming in at $1,504, and then worst option is going to be the point-to-point tickets. So hopefully this sheet shows you that it really makes sense. Even though it's only 3 segments, it may not seem like a lot. It's always a good idea just to price it out, the difference between point-to-point tickets, the pass and reservations, or in this case, just the Renfe Spain Pass itself without those reservations. Okay. And then lastly, let's go ahead and take a look at our extranet. You just log in there. Okay, one moment here. All right, so we've got our extranet here. Okay, so we would find our passes here, and we have to go to Eurail, 1 country. So this applies to any Eurail 1 country pass that's offered. So this is valid for 3, 4, 5, or 8 days within a month. And this will apply to each of the 1 country passes. You'll see there'll be specifics here for Spain. Eurail pass for Spain is valid within the national railway, so information there. But the conditions will be the same. So it doesn't specify Spain in particular, but it is a 1 country pass. So all of the information here does apply to this. This is to see the prices, and then I'm sure you're familiar with our extranet. So it gives you details about the Saver Pass, the 7 p.m. rule, about filling out the travel report, what kind of refunds are offered there. 85% refund applies to a totally unused pass, returned within 1 year of the issuing date. And another thing about the passes, because these are paper, they're not refundable, cannot be replaced if they're lost or stolen. So that's one of the drawbacks to the Eurail passes. You do have to be very careful with that and make sure you keep an eye on it. And the packaging instructions. So all of our information there about the Eurail Spain Pass. And then let's take a look at the Renfe Spain Pass here. So now this is all the particulars about the Renfe Pass itself. Non-residents in Spain to travel around the country. So remember, it gives you free of charge purchase of a particular number of tickets for a route inside Spain. Offered in tourist and club class. Renfe Spain pass available for 4, 6, 8, 10, or 12 journeys within a month. Cannot be used by permanent residents of Spain. We have our prices there, the refund information. So this one also 15% cancellation penalty. That applies if it's canceled up to 3 business days prior to the first travel segment. Within 3 business days of the first travel segment, it's non-refundable. So that's another thing about the Renfe Spain Pass is that it does, you do have to cancel that 3 business days prior to that first segment. Otherwise, it's non-refundable, whether you've used it or not. And it's not possible to obtain a refund after you make your first journey. It's just, that's done. And then there's this one too. If the journey is made in an inferior class to that specified on the pass, the holder is not entitled to any compensation whatsoever. So it's the same with a regular Eurail pass. So for instance, I'm going to be traveling on a first class pass in Spain. Some of the trains are shorter distance and time, and the reservations, as you saw, were $36 per person. Let me go ahead and just pull up an example here. And I'm going to show you this for a point-to-point ticket too, because we did have a question on how to make sure that you get first class rather than Turista Plus if you're doing a ticket. So we can look at both of these items while we finish this out. Okay, Barcelona. Do this for the 29th. We'll do this a little later. Okay. So we'll do this for the Ave, which you can see is the high-speed train there, so 1325. Now, if I'm traveling with a pass, a Eurail pass, and I want to make my pass holder reservations in advance, you can see quite a difference between those pass holder reservations. So I did first-class reservations on our longer segments, and then I did just second class on the shorter segments. If we're only traveling for an hour, second class is going to be perfectly comfortable, and we can save a little bit of money. But again, we're not going to be compensated because we're traveling in a lower class of service. Now, if we're talking just about tickets, now as you can see here, we don't have access to those promo fares through Schedule Search because we're not accessing that direct connect that we have through Renfe. And this says Preferente or Turista Plus. So which one am I getting? How do I know I'm getting the right one? So let's go ahead and select one of these fares. Now remember that this is going to be a paper ticket as well. When we hit Preference, this is where we can select Ave Club Class, and that'll make sure that we're in first class as opposed to the Turista Plus. So let me go ahead and confirm that one. And again, we're not in the direct connect, so that confirm button will be available here, as opposed to confirming when we actually place payment and hit Queue to Print. And here we see the Ave Club class was confirmed. Okay, so that's a little bit about Spain. Hopefully that cleared up, gave you a little bit of insight as to what is there to see and do about Spain, the different types of passes, the different types of services on the trains. I'm really excited to take these trains. They are supposed to be some of the most beautiful trains in Europe, just very luxurious. I'm really excited. So hopefully you can check out our extranet, get a little bit more information too on those different types of service, and hopefully maybe you can take a trip there yourself to Spain. We know the best way to sell something is to have experienced it ourselves. We have that first-hand experience, and that's a great way to kind of recommend specific things to different people to make sure they get the most value and the most enjoyment out of their trip. So it's been my pleasure to present Spain to you. If you have any questions, please go ahead and pose them in the chat box. I'll hang out for a few more minutes and do my best to answer them. Otherwise, if you don't have any more questions, I want to thank you again for joining me today, and have a great rest of your day. And thanks. Okay, so we had somebody ask a question about, is the Eurail Spain Pass always a better value than the Renfe Spain Pass? I think that was the question. Not always. I mean, it really kind of depends on whether your itinerary. You know, if you are looking at maybe more segments, these reservations can add up. I mean, then more often than not. So let's say we've got a couple more segments. Let me pull up the Renfe pass here. So let's say we're looking at 8 journeys. So now we're looking at $766 per person. So we'll do 766 and 766. And then the kids are required as well, so we'll do, or you know what, let's take this out of the realm of like a family. Let's look at just an individual person. So let's say for one person here, you can see you can get 8 journeys for $766. So that's 8 segments. And, you know, it's really going to depend on the itinerary. Let's do it. Let's do our same scenario with a family. So let's say this will equal then $766, and then 560 and 560. Okay. So now we're at 2,652. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll have another 72. 72. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, it looks like the Eurail Spain Pass might tend to be the best option, and I think that's simply because it's just better pricing, even though the reservations are on top. I think where the Renfe Spain Pass comes out is the flexibility of having it be a printed home ticket. So I think it's nice having a good option of it being electronic, where you could do it last minute for somebody, or also if they lose it, they just reprint it. So it's that convenience as well. So you're paying a little bit more for the convenience of having that printed home document. A great question. Okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to stop recording as well.